Good day. How are you getting on? Had some requests to do another mandolin tutorial thing, and I got some time now over lunch, so let's talk about some mandolin. Some good friends of mine have recently gotten into playing the mandolin, and you know, kind of gotten through the basics and stuff like that. So I'm going to assume that you guys have kind of gotten your G chord, your C chord, and your D chord, and E minor chord, which was actually the subject of a question today, which kind of gave me the kick in the arse to do this little video. When playing chords on a mandolin, you have your open ones, you know, and whatnot. Now, the other thing you can do, it's kind of like the equivalent of bar chords, I suppose, on a guitar, which are chords that are what we call closed shape, which means there's no open strings, and you can kind of move them all over the neck. For example, everyone, you know, you've probably played your D chord. You've probably gotten that far. Hope so. So if you take that D chord, and instead of playing it with your index and middle, or even your middle and ring, if you get into the habit of kind of playing that D chord with your ring and your pinky, what you can do then, give yourself a little while to kind of get used to that and strengthen that pinky up, is this. Now, you notice you have two open strings, right, in that chord. If you take this and move it up 2 frets, which is a full tone, which theoretically you have D, E flat or D sharp, and E. So to move this up 2 frets would now be an E, but we have to take our index finger and bar off on the 2nd fret the D and the A string. So we're playing the same shape, but 2 frets higher. Or even, for that matter, if your fingers are strong enough, you can try to play it like that too, and leave the pinky out of it. But get used to using your pinky. So if we move that up, so we could have D, E flat, E, F, F sharp. Now we have another inversion for G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and all the way up the neck. So with just that, we're just one chord shape. Now the other great thing to do when you're playing mandolin, and it's become kind of part of the vocabulary, is these chop chords. You'll hear bluegrass players use these. You know, that's a lot of, 99% of what, well, I shouldn't say that, but 90% of what they do when they chord is play these chop chords. And the mandolin's role in the bluegrass band, when it's playing rhythm, is like the snare drum. So you're playing on the offbeats and the ands and things like that. Sort of thing. Now that grip, so this would be for the G major. So the two tops, the two tops stay the same. That G and the B. And instead of playing these 2 open strings, now it's a bit of a stretch, but you'll get used to it. Your ring finger is going to come down on the G note on the D string, 5th fret, and your pinky is going to come down now on this D note on the G string, and that's on the 7th fret. Now you're going to probably have to buckle your wrist a bit, and you might have to bring your elbow in closer to your body to do this. And if you have to extend the mandolin out a bit, so be it, that's fine. Now, if you look at the way my fingers is going to kind of twist it, but mine are all on a bit of an angle when I do this, and that's fine too. As long as the notes ring clear and it's right, I mean, use your toes for all I care, you know. If you move this chop chord up chromatically, so that's G, everything up 1 fret each, that's G sharp. In the 5th position, that's an A sharp, B, and that goes all over the neck. So, so instead of, if you're playing G to C thing, right? You can do it with these chop chords. Now once you get that shape down, and kind of get that under your fingers, and you hear it, you see it, and your muscle memory too, to kind of combine all that to, but mostly your ears. I mean, your ears are going to tell you when you're, if it's not right. A good way, and how I started kind of, when you open up the neck, this note here is one of your root notes, which means if you're playing that chord grip and your middle finger is on the 3rd fret, that's a G. So now you're playing, the rest of the chord's a G major. If I move up, so my index finger now, or my middle finger is on the 5th fret, which is an A, that's an A. A B, a C, and on it goes. So that's probably a good way to remember that. And if you guys don't know how to find the notes on the neck, we'll address that before we finish this little video. Now, when you're playing, if you want to play a C, you can play it up in the higher register, that's fine. Or you can just take this entire thing and move it down a set of strings each. And now you're just playing a 3-note chop chord. So that would be, you're playing a C on the 5th fret on the G string, an E on the D string 2nd fret, and then you're playing the C on the A string 3rd fret. Now if you move that up, now your middle finger is still your root note, so you'd have like say C, C sharp, D, D sharp, or E flat, depending on how you're looking at it, E, F, F sharp, G. Right. To play a minor, no, here's what I was discussing with someone this morning, a minor grip for this. In the major grips, so we take G major. Okay, this is a major interval of a major 3rd right here, which is what makes that major. If you drop that down a semitone, that's now a minor 3rd. And now you're playing a minor. If you move that up to A, so you're playing, oh bloody hell, you're playing the 9th, 9th, 7th, 3rd, 5th frets. If you move that up 2 more frets, that's a B minor. That's another good one. Now, the other thing you can do, like we just moved the chord up and played like a triad or 3-note chord, you can do the same thing with the minor grip. The chord in question this morning was E minor, because the person who was asking me about it said they were having trouble because they have such delicate ladylike fingers to squish both of their fingers in here, and barring wasn't really working for them either, to get a clear E minor. Now, another voicing you can do for E minor is to use this minor grip. So if we played that C major like we did before, right there, and dropped the 3rd, that E down to an E flat, that's now a C minor. So if we go C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp or E flat minor, E minor. So that chord, that E minor grip, some nice douchey tremolo, make a face, anyway. That'll be the 9th fret on the G string, the 5th fret on the D string, and the 7th. That's going to be your root note right here. So that's an E. Now you can even have the open E string ringing against that. So if you were doing, and it's not uncommon to run into like an E minor to D to C kind of progression, you could use those little triad chop chords. So we'll play our E minor, move it down 2 frets and make the D a D major, down to C, up to D, and then E minor. So remember, when you're making it, when it's a major, the grip, it'll be the 7th, the 7th on the G string, the 4th on the D string, let me start that again. 7th on the G string. You're going to play the 4th on the D string and the 5th on the A string. So that's a G major. Move that grip down 2 frets for the C, because remember this is our root note. So E minor, D major, C major. So there's a quick little intro, and it's just some little chord voices and things to work with. I don't even know how much time, the counter's not up, so. Shag it. Okay, you know what, let's talk about how to find the notes, just in case you don't know how to find the notes. Even though that might take a little while. Okay, I'm assuming you know your alphabet. I'm hoping you know it. Jimmy, sit down. That's okay, buddy. You're a drummer. That's okay. You don't have to. But the rest of you, I'm sure, will know your alphabet by now, I hope. And when you're figuring out notes, and this is how I learned to do it. I mean, I'm sure there's a proper, conservatory kind of way to do it, but this is just how I did it when I was younger, and it just works for me. There's a couple of rules you have to remember. You're going from A to G sharp. Basically, that's it. A to G sharp, and then it repeats alphabetically. Now, you have sharps and flats, and the way I think of sharps and flats is if I'm ascending, which means I'm going higher in pitch, I'm thinking of the next consecutive note as being a sharp. If I'm descending, so if I'm playing like a scale, for example, and I'm playing A, let's make it a D. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Now, if I'm descending, I want to think D, D flat, B, A, G, G flat, E, and D. Okay. You have a G note right here. Okay? So if I'm going from G and I go down one fret or a semitone, to me that's a G flat. However, that note is also an F sharp, because you have your F here and a semitone higher you have F sharp. So a lot of the sharps and flats have two names depending, and they're the same thing. And you'll find that, and you'll make a face the first couple of times you run into it, but then it'll kind of start to make sense. With that in mind, we'll start with our open G, right, our low G string. So G, and each of these frets is what we call semitone, okay, if you don't already know. So a semitone would be half tone higher than the note you've played if you're going up. So for example, we have G. So the next corresponding note in Western music, the way we divide up music, is G sharp. So your first fret would be a G sharp, which now we return back to the A alphabetically. So your second fret would be an A. We're going up one more, so then the third fret would be A sharp, B. Now, here's the other tricky thing. For those of you who watch The Simpsons, Grant Orban had like this epiphany, and he was laughing about it for days, because there's no such thing as a B sharp. And that was Homer's barbershop band, was the B sharps, but there's no such thing as a B sharp, really. So you go from B to C. C. So G, G sharp, A sharp, B, no B sharp, so that's a C. C sharp, D, D sharp, E, no E sharp either, so there's an F, because F comes after E in the alphabet. F sharp, and G, which is your octave. Then it just repeats after the 13th fret. If you start on your D string now, so we have D, D sharp, E, no E sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, there's no B sharp, C, C sharp, D. And your 12th fret, you probably look now, I have a single dot here, but on yours, you'll probably have a double dot. Well, there's a double dot in the front, but I never look at the front. Actually, I find incidentally, I find inlays on the fretboard just the most useless fucking thing in the world. On the side dots, they're a must. But the ones on the front is just kind of gilding the lily. I never use the damn things. But use your side dots every time you play, for Christ's sake, because it'll save you. So let's move on. Sorry, let's move on to the A string. A sharp, B, no B sharp, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, no E sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. For the E string, E, no E sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, no B sharp, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and the octave E. Now, that's thinking sharps going up, right? And I said I think flats going down. So if I was going to descend from that, so the 12th fret is an E, which is an octave higher than our open string, right? This is making sense in my head. I'm hoping it's come across because I'm pretty tired. So we have an E at the 12th fret, E flat, D, D flat, C. There's no C flat, so you have a B. B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, no F flat, E. And you can do that for the rest of your strings too, and I'll let you figure that out. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. And it does take time to learn. And you start on one string and then move on to the next one, and when you get that down, and it'll help. Trust me. You know, especially when you're putting stuff like this together. So to recap, so we have G, right? There's a C. We can move that up 2 frets like we just learned, and because this is our root note, and that note is a D. E minor, C, D, blah 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 blah. So there's some a few little chords and things like that to kind of expand your mandolin a little bit. Now I know mandolin players are like, this is obvious, but this is basic stuff, right? If there's anything else you'd like, let me know, because I have no clue what to do with these things. I'm kind of shooting in the dark here, so for Christ's sake, message me or something like that if there's something you want, because it gives me the direction to, like this did today. Anyway, happy mandolin playing, and yeah, talk to you later. Cheers.